So today I just wanted to understand a little bit about what happens when we have to perform. Why I'm asking this is because recently I did a show with you, and every time I would come to the studio for practice or rehearsal or anything like that, I would feel a lot of sensations in my body. And it was not necessarily excitement, it was a lot more anxiety. And I had a feeling that others were also feeling it, especially when we were coming closer to the show. So I just wanted to understand, like, what are the reasons for this? Why does this happen? And why do these triggers keep coming into our space when we are in the spotlight for anything? It could be a presentation, it could be me just being a main person at a party or giving a speech somewhere, anything. Why does it happen, and like how could we just understand it a little better?
Yeah, I mean, so glad you asked this because I think this is very, very common and it's not specific to just performing. Performing arts is one of the channels how this gets triggered, but we basically call this in the spotlight kind of anxiety or triggers. And performance being one of a very common platform where this anxiety or this kind of an issue comes up. But in a nutshell, it's basically any point in life where you feel that you are the center of attention or you feel that you're in the spotlight, or whether it's a presentation you're giving, whether, like you said, in a group of friends, everyone's listening to you and all the heads are turned towards you, and suddenly we forget what we wanted to say and how we wanted to say it. So yeah, I mean, these are some triggers, and let's maybe figure out, yes, why do they happen. So to answer your question, there are various reasons why we even get triggered or why we begin to feel this anxiety or this fear. I think the first and foremost is this whole fear of being judged, because we are so scared of log kya kahenge, or what will other people think. Will I be able to live up to their expectations? And there in itself, we lose our connection to who we are, to our own strengths, to what we are capable of, and everything becomes about what the other one's thinking or is going to think. So that's one of the main reasons. The other is also the fear of not meeting our own expectations. So one is external, and the other is this whole self-critic in us that's always alive and that's always talking to us. And the moment we have to deliver, or we have to be like, in the limelight and perform, or that D-Day comes up, whatever that means for each one of us, there is this little voice that starts coming into us that you're going to screw up, you'll mess up, you won't be good enough, it won't be perfect, what if I could have done this better? And the triggers, everything just comes up. All the previous times maybe you were frozen or maybe you've screwed up, all of those start to come up. Then maybe, there's also this fear of being seen. Though a lot of us could love to be the center of attention, but I think a lot of us fear that limelight, that being in the attention, or like all eyes on you, being seen, and that creates like a lot of anxiety and fear in people when they're in the limelight. What else? I think there's also this little bit of fear that comes in that what if what I am trying to put out is not understood or accepted? So, maybe for a dancer or a choreographer, like if I may say so myself, it's one of these battles, that I'm trying to put out something. What if people don't accept it? They don't like it. It's not understood in the way I wanted it to be. And for so many people, like in the corporate world, it's about, I'm trying to present an idea or pitch something. What if it completely backfires? It's not accepted. I feel alienated from them. And all these are the deeper meanings that actually come. And that is the reason why we even get triggered with the limelight. So, yeah.
Yeah, so thank you for that. I also wanted to just understand like the different ways in which people get triggered, because everyone is molded very differently, and the way I get triggered will be different, the way you get triggered will be different. So what are those different ways that they get triggered, and how have you come across that in your space as well?
So one is downright anxiety, like how you feel that palpitation kicking in, you start sweating, heartbeat increases, but that's not feeling very, very good. So that's the most evident one and the most obvious one. Second is there is this whole mechanism of freezing, where you just freeze and you're just like, I do not know what I wanted to do, what I wanted to say, and you just, kind of become rigid.
Yeah.
Third would be a flight mechanism, where you just want to escape. And this manifests in very interesting ways, because I've had students who have not made it for class. They've signed up, but somehow something happens in their life, and it's just, and I mean, it's very difficult to understand that, okay, they have manifested this, but the subconscious creates these things just so that you can be away from such a situation. So that's the flight mechanism that kicks in. So fight is downright anxiety, freezing, and flight is when you want to escape and you do anything to kind of just get out of it. Fourth is fawning, where you fake it. So you overcompensate, you fake it, that you're awesome, it feels so good, but deep down you know what's happening to you. And the easiest way to spot that is because you will still feel not good about it. And that's how you know that, are you truly feeling good and you're excited, or was it just fake? So yeah, these are a few ways. I think another one that's coming into my space is you also sabotage sometimes. So this is when you have a trigger, when you have a major trigger, you end up sabotaging your own progress, your own success, and on that day when you have to do something, you will do something to spoil it. So for instance, if you have a presentation, you may not carry the say the pen drive, or you forget to mail yourself that presentation where you have to. So like these kind of things where you sabotage and these are very interesting ways, because you need to understand and ask yourself, why am I doing this? Because underneath all of this is a child, or is a younger you, who's so scared of being put on the limelight that you will do any of these to cope.
Yeah. What about does like feeling unwell or falling sick, all of that also?
Yeah. That's one of the flight mechanisms.
Okay.
Because if you're unwell, you can't show up.
So the body just kicks in and says that you can't do it.
You can't show up then. If your body gives up, what are you going to do? Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the easiest manifestations that comes through.
Because I think that has happened to me as well.
Thank you for bringing that up. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So the way every person gets triggered is very different. So how does one deal with it differently?
Well, there are a few conscious things that you can start doing on a day-to-day basis. So one thing that really helps is just look at yourself in the mirror for 5 minutes every day. Just keep staring at yourself, because if you are okay to see yourself, then you're okay when other people see you. So a very subconscious message goes when you do that. Another thing that you can do is do small things, maybe imperfectly. Like, be okay to be imperfect. Be okay to not do everything to the T. It's okay to slip up sometimes, and allow yourself that leeway at times. This is because you have these triggers, so we consciously take these measures to kind of make ourselves okay to be not so great or not so perfect all the time. Also, another small way is that it's okay if you disappoint people. So if there is there's this fear that comes up if I'm not living up to someone's expectations, even if it's not a performance space, just learn to forgive yourself. Make peace with that, and when you do that, even in pressure situations, you find yourself becoming calmer and calmer. Another thing that really works is deep breaths. So generally 7 deep breaths, breathing in through the nose and breathing out through the mouth, helps you center yourself, helps you calm yourself, helps you connect back to who you are. That's very vital. At a subcognitive or a subconscious level, which requires, of course, deeper work, and maybe you should always do it under the guidance of a therapist or a spiritual healer, it is important that you tap into your first association with performance or being in the spotlight, because somewhere there would be an unhealthy association there. When you can crack that, the further folders as you have grown old begin to change. Another very helpful mechanism is a meditation that we do. It's called By the Lake, where you are completely confronting and looking at yourself without any identities, without the compartments that other people have given to you, like extremely exposed, extremely vulnerable, and spending time with that person in a meditative space. It's extremely empowering. And the third subconscious thing that I really do is a meditation in which I confront the fears that I feel when I am put into a limelight, and I go through that fear so completely, so fully, that I become neutral to it. When you do that, the manifestation outside is also much less intense. So these are a few tips that maybe one can follow.
Okay. And there's one more thing, like I just want to understand, like I mean social media is constantly like around us all the time. We're always on it, we're always viewing it. We see the so-called perfection that is always out there, which everyone's portraying. So do you feel that has like affected us quite a bit? Like when it comes to just performing or doing anything, because we feel the need to kind of be that perfect.
No, I mean I do agree that social media has a huge role to play about the pressure it puts. I think more than being perfect, it's become about how it looks. The whole portrayal, it's become so about how we are putting ourselves out there rather than what's happening inside. But my thing to that would be social media can only shake you when you are yourself not happy with who you are and the life that you're living. Because if you are convinced and you're okay with where you are, that need to compare doesn't arise. And social media thrives on the comparison. So once you let that stop triggering you, knowing that you are unique, and the fact of the matter is no one is going to put out their sad stories, right? Everyone's going to put out their best moments. And that's what we are seeing. When we realize that, we are also okay. The need to do that shouldn't arise, because why compare someone else's best moments to your worst moments or your best moments? Like that itself is a game that often sabotages. It comes down to just knowing that you are unique. You have your own sets of privileges and challenges, and if you are okay with being you, social media will not trigger you so much. But I do agree that it does play a large part in putting pressure on how things look on the outside.
Because you also get into that mode of imitating, I feel.
Yeah,
like you
absolutely.
know,
How it looks.
how it looks.
Yeah.
So
Not focusing on the intent, not focusing on what's happening within. It's just about how it's looking. So yeah. But well, that all we can do is center ourselves and at least be connected to who we are, including our fears, including what works for us, what doesn't work for us. Because when we can truly put ourselves out there, whether it's the vulnerable us, whether it's the strong us, whether it's the happy us, whether it's the sad us, and we're okay to put that out with no shame, honestly, your limelights are amazing. So we just need to stop hiding behind our shadows.
Thank you, Aastha, for all the knowledge that you've shared with us today. I definitely have found a lot of benefits after doing the meditation with you. Like before the show, I felt myself just being with myself through like the show and the performance, and honestly it just reminded me why I was doing all of it, and it took away the anxiety and everything. I would also like to mention to everyone that if they do want to have access to the meditation, please reach out to Aastha or the Connect with Through page. And if you have any more questions, please drop us a message. We will be more than happy to just get that done for you.
Thank you so much, everyone.